Now 5:30. Is Dave on there? Okay, there we go. I don't see, is Mr. Morrissey there as well?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Madam Deputy Clerk, could you please read the roll?
Mr. Boson.
Here.
Mr. Amos.
Here.
Mr. Morrissey.
Here.
Mrs. Klein.
Here.
Mr. Foyce.
Here.
Mr. Grieder.
Here.
Mrs. Jewin.
Here.
Right now, if you would please join me in a moment of silence. All right, thank you. The pledge this evening will, I guess, be led by me. All right, please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Motion to approve the agenda as proposed and the minutes of the November 16th, 2020 regular session as proposed.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. First up, we have two proclamations. One of them is Small Business Saturday, and I am going to find it and read it. All right. Whereas the government of Waterloo, Iowa celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. According to the United States Small Business Administration, there are 30.7 million small businesses in the United States. They represent 99.7% of all firms with paid employees in the United States, are responsible for 64.9% of net new jobs created from 2000 to 2018. And whereas small business employ 47.3% of the employees in the private sector in the United States, 62% of U.S. small business reported that they need to see consumer spending return to pre-COVID levels by the end of 2020 in order to stay in business. 65% of U.S. small business owners said it would be most helpful to their business to have their regulars return and start making purchases again, and 3/4 of U.S. consumers are currently looking for ways to shop small and support their community. And whereas 96% of consumers who shopped on Small Business Saturday agree that shopping at small, independently owned business supports their commitment to making purchases that have a positive social, economic, and environmental impact. And 97% of consumers who shopped on Small Business Saturday agree that small businesses are essential to their community. Whereas 95% of consumers who shopped on Small Business Saturday reported today makes them want to shop or eat at small, independently owned businesses all year long, not just during the holiday season. And whereas Waterloo, Iowa supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our communities. And whereas advocacy groups, as well as public and private organizations across the country, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now, therefore, I, Quentin Hart, Mayor of the City of Waterloo, do hereby proclaim November 28, 2020, Small Business Saturday, and urge residents of our community and communities across the country to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturdays throughout the year. So do we have anyone on from Main Street? I don't think so. So, Councilwoman Juan, you want to say a couple words about it, or would you like me to make some comments?
I would defer to you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. So November 28th, as was mentioned, Small Business Saturday. So we're hoping that you can get out and support our local businesses. We know downtown we have our pop-up shops. So we have a lot of entrepreneurs that are there that have great product. You may be able to check some of the Facebook pages. And I think if you go to the Main Street Facebook page, you'll be able to see a listing of a lot of the pop-up shops that we have. So if you're not able to physically go, please make sure you contact if you see some merchandise or something that you want, because it's absolutely important to support our businesses. So it's a special time of the year and a special opportunities to show our small businesses that have been there and that are there during this time frame some support. So please continue to do so. All right. And the second proclamation we have is with regards to the Civil Air Patrol Day. Whereas the Civil Air Patrol was chartered by Congress on December 1st, 1941, immediately prior to America's entry into World War II. Whereas the Civil Air Patrol has a long and proud history of service, particularly as primary partner in inland search and rescue and disaster response. And whereas the Civil Air Patrol is the official U.S. Air Force auxiliary and a national community service organization made up of trained civilian volunteers with modern fleet of 550 CAP aircraft, as well as support vehicles and equipment used daily. Whereas the Civil Air Patrol maintains professional, enthusiastic, and locally available talent and asset pool for federal, state, county, and municipal government entities. Whereas 35,000 senior members and 24,000 cadets aged 12 through 18 live out the Civil Air Patrol's core values of integrity, volunteer service, excellence, and respect each day. And whereas the Iowa wing of the Civil Air Patrol is comprised of 131 senior members and 95 cadets located at squadrons in Atlantic, Burlington, Cedar Rapids, Davenport, Des Moines, Dubuque, Osage, and Waterloo, Cedar Falls. And whereas community support is vital to the success of the Civil Air Patrol and as it carries out its vital mission of emergency services, aerospace education, and cadet programs. Now I, therefore, Quentin Hart, Mayor of the City of Waterloo, do hereby proclaim December 1st, 2020 as Civil Air Patrol Day throughout the city and encourage all citizens of Waterloo to learn more about Civil Air Patrol and its mission and heritage and its opportunity for meaningful civic service volunteer service at www.gocivilairpatrol.com. And so we were expecting to have Mayor Rob Green from Cedar Falls, but we will be joined tonight by Colonel Jonathan Lartigue. I hope I said that right. Civil Air Commander of Iowa. So, Colonel, how are you, sir?
Very well. Thank you, Mayor Hart.
Oh, we do have Captain Rob Green, too. What a surprise.
I better let my boss do the talking tonight.
All right. So, someone take it away.
Mayor Hart, council members, Mr. Kaspari, citizens of Waterloo. I'm Jonathan Lartigue, the commander of Civil Air Patrol in Iowa. Thank you for inviting me here tonight, and thank you very much for your proclamation. Civil Air Patrol, the auxiliary of the United States Air Force, has been performing missions for America since 1941. Our 60,000 volunteer members, including 250 here in Iowa, contribute to their communities through emergency services missions, such as search and rescue and responding to the recent Horatio storm, and promoting aerospace education in the STEM fields in your local schools, and by teaching the principles of character, leadership, physical fitness, and academic excellence to our more than 25,000 cadets nationwide. The support of local communities such as Waterloo is critical for the continued success of Civil Air Patrol. We appreciate your recognition of your new unit in Waterloo, as well as other locations throughout the state. Your local unit, led by Lieutenant Engelhardt, who has joined us tonight, in only a few short months, has grown to more than 20 cadets and adult volunteers and is well on its way to becoming Iowa's newest independent CAP squadron. Through partnerships with local government, emergency management agencies, and schools, we continue to grow our membership and capabilities, increase our value to communities such as yours, and to the state of Iowa and to the nation. Thank you very much again for your proclamation, Mayor.
All right, thank you so much. I had an opportunity to come out and visit, about a month or two ago out at the airport. So incredible work, incredible training program for young people too. So we definitely thank you. Do any of our other special guests who would like to make comments?
Good evening, sir. This is Lieutenant Penrose Engelhardt, commander of the Waterloo flight. And I just wanted to say thank you very much for making this proclamation. It was great to see you out at our open house on August 20th when you were there. And we are just grateful for the opportunity to have this program in Waterloo. And it has been met with a great response and great success so far.
Thank you.
I would just add, Keith Gaspari has been a tremendous supporter of us. And if anyone would like to see Civil Air Patrol operations here locally, when we can meet in person, right now we're virtual, but when we get back to in person, we meet at the Waterloo Airport at 7 p.m., 7 to 8:30, and it's open to students and adults, students aged 12 to 18, and adult members, whether you have a background in aviation or not, there's going to be something available for you in Civil Air Patrol. Right, Ethan?
Yes.
He said yes.
All right. So, Captain Wallace, right behind you have a great picture of some jets. I think, did I hear that council were able to ride on one of those in the future? Maybe I didn't hear that. Maybe that's how my mind works. So, I want to thank all of you so much for all you do for the young people in our community, for keeping us safe. Lieutenant Engelhardt, thank you so much for your leadership locally, and Captain Rob Green for, I think I heard him that day mention that, and you immediately signed up to be a part of it. So, thank you so much for all you guys are doing for our communities and to keep us safe.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you all. All right, now it is time for oral presentations. It's your opportunity to address the City Council on non-agenda related items, and I think we have first up on here Mr. Dixon Stolke. I think you want to address the Waterloo City Council. So, Mr. Stolke.
Thank you. Good evening. I am endeavoring to save some lives from COVID-19 and turning to you for help. Last week, I offered two good ideas to circulate. One, with widespread willful disbelief of science is fueling the pandemic, proving to the world that everyone really has innate faith in the sciences, that people don't really distrust the sciences like they say, cast doubt on all their willful disbelief, weakening one excuse they use to proudly run roughshod and scot-free over all the rest of us, an excuse also voiced by our COVID-friendly leadership to encourage that. If enough people start saying, yeah, that's right, we're trusting the sciences and everything else but this, a few minds change, a few fence-sitters follow, a few fewer die. To change the critical mass of minds, the tipping point, when a lot fewer start to die, that's the goal. Last week, I supplied the needed proof to discredit willful disbelief and coined a powerful phrase, pro-pandemic, which encapsulates all COVID-friendly attitudes and actions into a compelling and truthful label, useful in fertilizing the groundwork to propagate the faith in science idea. Telling about Governor Reynolds' pro-pandemic policies is no lie. These purportedly pro-freedom policies are also pro-pandemic, thereby infringing the freedoms of all of us who want to safeguard our health. but I can't share ideas with enough people fast enough to make any impact. So I ask people with strong word-of-mouth networks to help. You are far and away the most influential group of people I know, and you know even more. Clearly, your connections networks within and without the halls of power could much more effectively get these ideas to key people, sowing way more seeds of faith in the sciences and doubt in the pro-pandemics, and save a whole lot more lives than just me shouting from the rooftops. Plus, an important role of city government is to represent its interests to the higher up in county and state. Saving Waterloo lives is very much in our city's interest, even if we have to go around saving other cities' lives to do it. The second idea, the Unmasked Hot Side website list, is a more concrete and immediate action. I anticipate you're going full steam ahead with it, and if the city can't do it officially, tapping your interpersonal networks for a nonprofit to do it, or else Plan C or D to set it up. I picture a solid, resourceful citizenry willing to help, awaiting your direction. You can share it with other cities, and any effort to block it is pro-pandemic. We could really get out in front on managing parts of this crisis. And even if the COVID tide does not turn, it won't be because we didn't try. Propagating these ideas is only the beginning. There will still be much to do. So will you help?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Stokey. Thank you so much for keeping that message in front of us as well. Very important. All right. Ms. Deputy Clerk, is there anyone in the audience that want to address the council or anyone on the...
Yes, we do.
All right. Come on up, sir.
David Dreyer, 3145 West 4th Street. I see in the paper a petition on Griffin strikes strife on the council. Only, it looks like in the article, only with a department. After the council's vote, it is a city, and this is in the article, a city department's role to support. I think it is the council's responsibility to find out what the public wants that they represent. I've not attended a ward meeting because there hasn't been one to check out my feelings. Nor has any council member asked my opinion. So we have a rule set by the ruling class again, the council. You are representatives of the public. If you want to know what the public thinks, ask us. Put it to a public vote as suggested some time ago and in this article. Also, not an odd number on a committee. Also, an odd number on a committee is incorrect. Like having only 6 council members with a non-voting mayor. The Supreme Court, I've said this before, you don't have an even number on a committee because you get no decisions made. Ask the public. Put it to public vote. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Dreyer. Is there anyone else, Ms. Deputy Clerk?
No.
Council,
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Grieder.
So I know that I'm sure in joining my colleagues that the report that we read last week about the amended lawsuit between Tyson and some of our constituents disturbed all of us. Allegations of betting on people's health conditions, on hiding health conditions from workers, from a company that we know was responsible for where there's a large outbreak, I should say. I know that Tyson has made some actions to change the culture at that facility. I believe that that's the right step, but it's very, very clear that a culture that allows things like that to exist, to fester, to come out, the culture needs to change. It needs to change rapidly because, as we know, people lost their lives and more than some house cleaning needs to be done. at that facility. And so I hope that our facility and the corporate branch of Tyson take the other additional steps to make sure that things like this do not happen in the future, because it was some truly disturbing allegations. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Councilman Grieder. Is there anyone else? Ms. Jewin?
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I just can't let Mr. Dreyer's comments go without response in the fact that we did ask for public input, and I don't know if he was at the meeting where we had dozens of people offering their comments on the police rebranding. So to say that we hadn't asked for public input is incorrect. We did ask for it. We all, and we have an odd number of council members. We have 7, not 6, and the mayor. And all of us as council members are always open to phone calls, to emails. We receive countless numbers of both. So to say that we're not hearing from the public is incorrect. We are all open and always available for the constituents' input. So I just had to make that comment in response to Mr. Dreyer's statement. Thank you.
Mrs. Jewin, could you close oral presentations?
Mr. Mayor,
You can't,
Fine.
Ms. Klein.
before we close, I would just like to refer back to something my colleague just said. I think we have to remember that any lawsuit with a private business in town is between the people bringing the suit and the private business. I'm not sure it's up to us to, prior to any result of that lawsuit, claim that we have any extended or expanded knowledge on who's guilty and who isn't. And I just think we need to be very cautious.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
make motion to close oral presentations, receive comments, and place on file.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oral presentations closed.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
motion to approve the consent agenda with the addition to 1A1 bills payment in the amount of $6,488,313.14. Move to receive, approve, and place on file.
Second.
All right, thank you. That motion has been made with the second. Council questions? Madam Deputy Clerk?
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Jewin?
Yes.
Mr. Boson?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
All right, thank you all. Could someone take number 2, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Morrissey.
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file proof of publication notice of public hearing on the Public Works Facility Janitorial Services Contract.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the hearing is now open. Is there anyone in the audience or Cyberland that would like to speak towards a janitorial cleaning contract? Going a second time?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, hearing is closed.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution confirming approval of specifications, bid documents, form of contract, et cetera, and authorizing to proceed.
Second.
The motion has been made with the second. Council, any questions on this item?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know that it's going to be referred over, as long as the council approves that, to the city clerk to read the bids, refer to Public Works Director. But there are some questions that I would hope would be answered. First of all, what are the wages that will be paid to the workers? What are their benefits? What are the COVID-19 protections that are made for each of these particular people that are bidding? And then what is the amount of money that is paid for administration or to administration or managerial duties and profits?
So I think, Randy, you're on the line. So once you go through these bids, if you want to follow up on some of those questions, that'll be greatly appreciated. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Morrissey. So we have a resolution. Did somebody second? I hope somebody seconded that.
Yes, there was.
All right.
Mr. Grieder.
Madam, yes.
Mr.
Did
Grieder
somebody say
seconded.
something? Okay. All right. Roll call, Madam Deputy Clerk.
Do I need to read the bid?
No, you need to, for the resolution confirming approval of specifications, bid documents, do a roll call for that portion.
Okay. Mr. Morrissey,
Yes.
Mrs. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Foyce,
Yes.
Mr. Grieder,
Yes.
Mrs. Jewin,
Yes.
Mr. Boson,
Yes.
Mr. Amos, sorry.
Yes.
All right. Was that everyone?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Morrissey.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to receive and file and instruct City Clerk to read the bids and refer to the Public Works Director for review.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Madam Deputy Clerk, could you read the bids?
We had 3 bidders. Each bidder provided a 5% bid security. Midwest Janitorial Services Incorporated of Hiawatha, Iowa, $3,839.95 per month. ABM Janitorial of Waterloo, Iowa, $3,464.27 per month. Mardson Building Maintenance, Waterloo, Iowa, $2,431.72 per month.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Could someone take number 3, please?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Amos.
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file proof of publication of notice of public hearing, and that is for fiscal year 2021 Leversey Road Lift Station, contract number 983.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now open. Is there anyone that would like to speak to this particular item for Leversey Road Lift Station? Going a second time.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Amos.
I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now closed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion adopting a resolution confirming approval of plans, specifications, form of contract, etc., and authorizing to proceed.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Is there, Council, you got any questions on this road lift station? Madam Deputy Clerk, roll call.
Mrs. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Foyce,
Yes.
Mr. Grieder,
Yes.
Mrs. Jewin,
Yes.
Mr. Boson,
Yes.
Mr. Amos,
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to receive, file, and instruct city clerk to read bids and refer to city engineer for review.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Madam Deputy Clerk.
We had 6 bidders, all provided a 5% bid security. The bids were as follows. On Track Construction LLC of Nevada, Iowa, $888,352. Veith Construction Corporation of Cedar Falls, Iowa, $813,605. Aaron's Excavating of Waterloo, Iowa, $588,805.66. Boomerang Corporation of Anamosa, Iowa, $817,545. Pierce Tobin Construction Incorporated of Waterloo, Iowa, $902,605.50. Peterson Contractors Incorporated of Rhinebeck, Iowa, $1,048,993.75.
All right, thank you. What was the estimate on that?
There is none.
Okay, all right.
We didn't vote on that motion yet, Mr. Mayor.
You didn't vote on the motion?
No.
A roll call? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank you.
I had, actually, I had Mr. Amos and Mr. Grieder as a second.
And then did we vote after that? Well, just in case, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Do we need to read them again?
No. No.
Okay. All right. Could someone take number 4, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Foyce.
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file proof of publication of notice of public hearing, and that is for fiscal year 2021 Shawless Road Trail Extension Phase 2 project contract number 1012.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now open. Is there anyone in the audience or cyberspace that want to speak about this item? Going a second time.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
The motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That hearing is closed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution confirming approval of plans, specifications, form of contract, etc., and authorizing to proceed.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Council, questions on this item? Madam Deputy Clerk.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Jewin?
Yes.
Mr. Boson?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And what do I do for that last part? I just let people know the project was led by the Iowa Department of Transportation on November 18, 2020?
Yes.
And that's all? Okay. All right. Could someone take 5, 6, and 7 for me?
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Klein.
number 5 is a resolution approving supplemental agreement number 1 to a professional services agreement with AECOM Technical Services, Inc. of Waterloo, Iowa, originally executed on June 26, 2017, in an amount not to exceed $69,900 in conjunction with the Levy Sanitary Gate Well Repair Project and authorizing the mayor to execute said document. Number 6 is a resolution approving electronic submission of the Tax Increment Finance, TIF, reports to the state of Iowa for fiscal year 2020. Number 7 is a resolution approving amendment number 4 to the development agreement with Central Property Holdings, LLC, originally executed August 17, 2017, to amend the timeline to November 30th, 2020, to begin construction on the All-In Grocers project and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said documents.
Second.
All right, thank you for that second. Is there anyone in the audience with questions or on Cyberland?
Yes.
David Dreyer, 3145 West 4th Street. I want to compliment Mr. Anderson for, I see there's a lot of construction going on over there. My concern is I have noted that a denial has been made, which is part of other business 19. Maybe that's going to get rescinded. Because of the wording in the contract on the start date / permit taken. I'm in favor of all-in grocery, have been from the start. However, have the terms of this agreement been met? In other words, has Mr. Anderson, from the day that that contract was signed, taken out his construction permit? If not, is the project going to continue? Then denial of incentive to anyone else is picking winners and losers by the council. Thank you.
All right. Noel, has he taken out permits or anything?
Noel Anderson, Community Planning Development Director. They have taken out the foundation permits and they have begun work on that. It's pretty standard for larger projects to take out the permits in a phasing type pattern as they're going through it.
Thank you, Mr. Dreyer. Council, questions?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Bozen.
I have a question on 6 and a question on 7. On number 6, and it also pertains to when we get to item resolutions 12 through 18. I'm disappointed that these hit so late when they have to be sent into the state by December 1st, and we don't have a meeting next week. Because on number 6, we didn't get the council information until between 10 and 11 this morning, and it was 140 pages to digest of information. And I went through all 140 pages and kind of and wrote down some notes of errors that I found, and I emailed those to Michelle, who forwarded them to Noel. And I'd like to know if if he'd get back to me before this is filed, that whether I was correct in what I found, or whether we're making corrections to this document before it's sent into the state. And then on number 7, if we approve this tonight and he has 1 year for construction, what do we have in place if this exceeds past a year? Those are my 2 questions.
All right. So, Noel, questions, problems, potential problems on the TIF things. What do you got for that?
Noel Anderson, Community Planning Development Director. So for the TIF report, I mean, remember, it's a report of the actions that we have already approved and taken in the TIF district. So we were really concentrating on the numbers and making sure that those were as accurate based on new numbers and past numbers. This is all in a state database system, so we're going in there and entering the information. So I apologize if it looks like some of the errors were just not updating whether or not projects were completed that were probably in there entered in last year. So we'll definitely go through and enter that. We believe that the numbers are fairly accurate, if not entirely accurate, and we'll go ahead and fix some of the text problems that were discovered.
Thank you.
I think Mr. Bozen's question was, so if you'll go in and fix it if what he sent stands true, right?
That is correct. We'll go through exactly his comments, and we'll go through the entire document again before we submit to make sure that it's as accurate as possible. If there is anything major that would change the scope of what you're approving, we'd definitely bring that back to council. But it looks like there might just be some small errors in there for the dates or something of whether a project was completed or not.
All right. And if the all-in goes past the completion date, what's the process or what happens?
The standard development agreements will note that if the dates are not met, that the agreement can become null and void. Obviously, both parties have the ability to request that be extended further to make the overall goal of seeing the project successful move ahead. So we would have to look at that situation if it were to occur and see what we'd want to do.
Does that come back to council?
Yes, it would.
So Mr. Mayor, one more question, if I could.
Yes, sir.
And my concern, Noel, was the fact that we really didn't have a whole lot of time to digest this. and I know it's just a form, but like I say, 140 pages, and then on items like 12 through 18, I mean, there's quite a bit of forms in there to go through also. If possible in the future, I would sure like to see that beforehand, and I truly believe that we do go to 2 meetings a month, and we have this information a week in advance, we won't be backed up into dropping 140 pages on a Monday morning of the day of the council.
Well noted.
Thank you, sir.
Council, any other questions on 5, 6, 7? Madam Deputy Clerk?
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Jewin?
Yes.
Mr. Boson?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'm going to ask, these are pretty short ones. Could someone take 8 through 11?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Morrissey.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the following resolutions. First, approving a professional service proposal with INS Group Incorporated of Waterloo, Iowa, in the amount of $5,000 in connection with the 5 Sullivan Brothers Convention Center addition, renovation, furniture plan project, and authorizing the mayor to execute that document. Next is a resolution approving an encroachment agreement with James Hurst to allow for a 16-foot electric chain link fence gate located at 2425 West 4th Street, then encroaches 1 foot onto city-owned right-of-way of Fletcher Avenue, and authorizing the mayor, city clerk to execute that document. Next is a resolution approving a request by Kasim Mustadanic for the final plat of Mustadan First Edition, a replat of a portion of Kendall First Edition, a 3-lot residential subdivision located south of 4245 West 4th Street, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute that document. And number 11 is a resolution approving a hold harmless agreement with Russell Holven to allow for the excavation of former outhouse locations on city-owned property to search for antique bottles and artifacts, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute that agreement.
Second.
All right, that motion has been made with the second. Is there anyone in the audience or cyber land that would like to comment on outhouses or subdivisions and encroachment agreement? I couldn't refuse that one. Council, any questions?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Morrissey.
Is City Attorney Peterson online?
He's here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my question was, in reading over the agreement, as far as the liability to injury and illness, I'm just wondering if this document is good in that legal language that says, quotes, in perpetuity, quotes. And why I ask that is if someone is involved in this project or at any of these sites, can those particular, or could that party come back years later saying that an illness that they contracted originated from working on one of these sites?
Mr. Peterson.
Martin Peterson, Legal Department. So you're asking, Mr. Morrissey, if we could be in deep doo-doo on that issue?
Yes, exactly.
Well, yeah, in perpetuity means forever. So I'm not an expert in the field, but I would think most of that material would be fairly neutralized at this point in time. So I don't know that, would your question be whether they would be exposed to some environmental or health issues as a result of digging in the area?
Yes.
Well, from a legal perspective, I think the term may imply that that in perpetuity means forever. So it potentially could.
But Mr. Peterson, my question is that in perpetuity is not part of the agreement? And if that is a possibility, should it not be part of the agreement?
Well, in most agreements, if they say for themselves and their heirs and assigns, that does cover forever, basically.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Morrissey. Other questions, Council? All right, Madam Deputy Clerk.
Mrs. Jewin?
Yes.
Mr. Boson?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Could someone take 12 through 18 so we can open them up at the same time?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Boson.
I'd like to adopt a resolution approving the certification to the Blackhawk County Auditor for expenditures that qualify for reimbursement for the FY 2020 Tax Increment District and place the certification on file. Number 12 is for the Crossroads Tax District. Number 13 would be for the Downtown Waterloo Urban Renewal and Redevelopment Tax Increment District. Number 14 is for the Martin Road Increment District. Number 15 is for the Northeast Industrial Park Urban Renewal and Redevelopment Tax Increment District. Number 18 is for the Raft Tax Increment District. Number 16 is for the Raft. Number 17 is the San Martin Tax Increment District. And number 18 is the East Waterloo Unified Urban Renewal and Redevelopment Increment District, and place the certification on file.
Second.
All right, that motion has been made with the second. Is there anyone in the audience or cyberspace that would like to comment? Council? Madam Deputy Clerk?
Mr. Boson?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Jewin?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Number 19.
Mr. Mayor,
Mayor?
Miss, which one of you has to do this?
I'll let Ms. Jewin do it.
Okay. Mr. Mayor?
Hmm?
Motion to reconsider resolution number 2020-842, titled Resolution Approving an Amendment to the Development Agreement with Robert Castro Construction, originally executed July 24th, 2017, adding infill policy incentives in the amount of $10,000 for the completed project, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute the document.
Second.
Motion has been made with the second. Any discussion? All right. We'll do a roll call vote on this one. Madam Deputy Clerk?
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Jewin?
Yes.
Mr. Amos? Or Mr. Boson, sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. I just want to tell all of you, not to give you a lecture, but of course the holiday season is upon us. I want you all to be safe. Please limit the amount of folks you're around this year, and have an incredible Thanksgiving this week. So blessings to everybody out here in our entire community. And like I said earlier, thank you all for what you do for the citizens of Waterloo.
And happy
Same to you, Mayor.
Yes. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
A motion has been made with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.
Stay safe.